Back with more Walking Dead. This is episode 19 of season 10. Very excited to see what's going to be happening in this next additional episode. This will be the third of the 6 bonus ones. And I've really liked these bonus episodes so far. The first one I thought was pretty good with Maggie and everything. Liked what they did with that. I really loved last week's episode with Daryl. Everything with Leah going on with that. And I believe this one is about Aaron and Gabriel. I think they're kind of the focus. They're going on a little mission together, which is kind of cool. I don't know exactly what that's going to entail and why they're heading out on a mission, what that's all going to be for, but we're going to get those answers right now. So yes, I'm excited to see what this one's all going to be about. And it's a different kind of pairing. I don't think we've really seen Aaron and Gabriel interact that much before. And I like it when The Walking Dead, explores different relationships. So this should be interesting to see if these characters bounce off each other very well. And then, yeah, I'm just glad to have more Walking Dead as always. So let's jump into this next episode. Oh! Well. Those bloody flowers. Huh. Well, when you order it online versus when it arrives.
What happened here?
Nothing good. I'm going to take a stab. Really putting his back into it. I mean, they're only vegetables. Could have been worse. Oh, God. This episode's disgusting so far. Like, they've really gone all out. Gotta hand it to them. I was gonna say, like, roof of a supermarket famously doesn't bode well in The Walking Dead, does it? There's Romeo and Juliet.
One more.
Alright, Columbo. I'm sure nothing will go wrong at this place. It'll be very uneventful, won't it? Oh, wow! Damn. Inconsiderate. He already has trouble seeing.
Little help.
I mean, I've read it's great for your skin, so... I think their luck's run out too.
My name is Aaron. I'm a friend.
Aaron Burr, sir?
He just came at me.
Oh.
That was quite the scream. These things are vicious. Clearly, no. Hence, the scream.
That's what you get for laughing at him when he fell in the mud.
Dinner. And drink.
Damn for that.
It's not just whiskey.
It's Dwayne Jones whiskey. I see the Easter egg.
It's rare. The fact that people would pay that much to get drunk is a huge part of what was wrong with the world. The point isn't to get drunk, it's...
Yeah, it's so much better now.
We've had a rough day, you know.
Down it, Fresher.
He heads straight for the liquor cabinet. I said, "What are you doing, Reverend?" And he says, "Shut up, Gabriel." And he snatches off my collar. And then he pulls off his and he starts pouring.
Oh.
He tells me that real ministry isn't preaching from a pulpit. It's talking to people one-on-one. On their own terms. Just relating to them, you know?
Knocking them out and leaving them to die.
Helping people was right. We haven't done that for a long time.
I mean,
Gotta get back to it.
there've been some pretty decent distractions, to be fair to you.
I don't want to preach anymore.
Papa, don't preach.
Evil people aren't the exception to the rule. They are the rule.
I'm sober.
Deep. Poor Rosita. Oh. Oh. How'd you do that?
I'd like it, buddy.
Hey! It's the T-1000!
Does this say no harm to you?
Uh-oh.
Your own bluff is easy, buddy, in your little card game.
Oh well, we was watching them for ages.
You think you made it?
It's loaded.
What? Your friend. He's in there. Easy.
Oh.
The Bibles. And my toilet paper. I like the thin pages. I can find them everywhere.
Maybe
Wow.
instead of wiping your ass with it, you should read it.
Oh, yeah, I read it. Evil people aren't the exception to the rule. They are the rule.
I was drunk.
A drunk tongue's an honest one. There's nothing left in this world but thieves and murderers.
In my experience, that's true.
This is
Sadly.
weakness.
I don't think Aaron had a particularly good night. Are we Russian rouletting this?
Point it at yourself. Or a man sitting across from you.
Oh my god.
Winner goes home.
Oh my god. Damn. Damn, damn, damn. Season 5 Gabriel would have been like, well Aaron, nice knowing you. God, you'd really want to chance it, wouldn't you? Like just shoot him and hope it is the one with the bullet.
Why are you doing this?
He doesn't seem like a nice man, Aaron.
Did you hear that? Makes a different sound when the chamber loads. You got a choice to make, son.
Oh boy. Just shoot him, if you know it's loaded this time. I feel like this guy does seem like he believes people are evil. Maybe that's how he got his scars and stuff. He might have been through some shit.
And there's my brother, still on the last of my food. And he just stares at me. And then he comes at me with a knife and...
What happened?
I handled it.
Oh.
It's easier to accept than the truth. That you meant less to your brother than some scraps of food.
Gabriel.
No, he's gonna hear this.
Yeah, make him angry, that's a good
I
idea.
know something about looking for the meaning in things.
Shoot him.
3,
That's what I've been saying.
2, 1, stop! That's just who people are!
Our community is real. It's full of people who were lost and found their way back. You can too.
It's kind of sad though how lost he's become just because he didn't find anyone else to trust. Whew. That got a bit tense there. Now he puts the knife down. Stab yourself or stab the other one.
My name is Maze.
And that's a mace. Fuck.
Couldn't take him with us. He killed his brother's family.
You killed your constituency. Still took you. Well. It was much harder to take him out in Terminator 2.
He heard everything we said last night. Where was he hiding?
It's just under the table. Okay, so maybe we were right to kill him. Oh,
It's his brother.
yeah.
He made me play. He made me play.
We are not going to hurt you.
Whoa. Oh, well.
Drop it!
Come on, we don't have to kill you twice in the same episode. He's gonna do the different outcome of the game that he wished he had. Yeah. Fuck, man. They did kill him twice in one episode. Bastards. Have you got any whiskey left? Because fuck me. Checking out one more place was a mistake, wasn't it? Okay, another really, really great episode. It was cool to see focus on characters like Aaron and Gabriel, particularly Aaron, because I feel like they do focus on Gabriel from time to time a decent amount. You know, like the original season 10 finale, I think, had a bit of focus for him. And while I'm still not big on the pairing of him and Rosita, it has at least given him some screen time. Whereas I feel like Aaron often does get kind of left behind a bit and never given much to do. So to see him get a bit more focus was really cool and interesting. So I liked the pairing of those two, because I think we've seen them interact a bit before, but you know, they've never had a whole episode just to themselves, you know, which is cool and a great thing that these bonus episodes can do. The other side of that, I guess, is because these are just like bonus episodes we weren't originally going to get, not for a second did I really think any of them would actually die in that like Russian roulette scene. You know, I think it was always going to be obvious that if anyone was dying in that scene, it was going to be T-1000, or Maze, as I should probably call him, because that's his character in this one. But still, there was a lot of tension there, and I think the performances really kind of sold that anyway. Because even if, you know, the stakes may not necessarily always be there for the audience in terms of that, because I do feel like, you know, it will surprise me if we lose like a big character in these bonus episodes, to be honest. But I'm not saying that won't happen, because maybe they will use that to surprise us. But while the stakes may not be there for me as an audience member at times like that, for the characters, the stakes are very much there, so it makes sense for it still to be very tense. So yeah, everything with that was cool and well done. I liked the kind of brotherly bond, I guess, the banter between Aaron and Gabriel as well. Aaron taking the piss when Gabriel fell in the mud, and then Gabriel taking the piss when Aaron got scared by the boar. I thought it felt very natural and true that people would do that. And for a character like Gabriel as well, who he talks about finding the light in situations and finding, you know, the positives in such a dark and bleak world. I feel like he is better at doing that than Aaron is. The fact that, you know, Gabriel did then take the chance to just have a laugh about things, and, you know, tell Aaron a story from his past that seems to make him quite happy, and he could reflect on something positively with the other Reverend, who kind of taught him all he knows about whiskey and stuff. And he's also, you know, been very hopeful, and he's like, just one more place, we'll keep going. He's holding on to that hope that there must be some good out there, which is a really great kind of contrast to Maze in this episode, and the fact that he didn't believe that there were still good people around. He just assumed everyone was bad, and I guess he kind of includes himself in that because of what was eventually revealed about his brother and everything, because damn, that got dark. I will say, I feel like this episode was very, very bleak and morbid. Like, even before the whole Maze stuff kicked off, like, it just, like, the opening, it was like the opening of Up, you know, those first, like, 10 minutes or so. It was just, like, throwing depressing thing after depressing thing at you and not finding any food, and this person's dead and these people are dead. We're never going to know what happened to these people, they're dead. And I know The Walking Dead is very bleak anyway in terms of that, but I just feel like they really hammered that home in this one for some reason. Maybe I just read too much into it and I was like, damn. But that felt very prevalent in this one, but I think maybe they were trying to do that to give Maze's argument about, you know, the state of the world and the people in it more credence, I suppose. But the running theme of this episode as well, I think, was finding meaning in things, finding answers in things. Are there answers to the way the world is, the way people are anymore, getting that closure about things? Because we had that when Aaron found that, I assume it's like a little family with like the flowers growing over them and stuff that looked like they had been burned or something. And he was wondering what happened to them, and Gabriel was like, well, we never know, we're never going to get that answer, versus Maze kind of desperate for answers about you know, the world and people, and he's desperate to find out, why did my brother betray me like this? You know, there must be more meaning to it. And then, you know, the twist that he didn't actually kill his brother or anything like we may have assumed, you know, makes that a very interesting thing, exactly what his perspective truly was. And throughout, once he was introduced, Gabriel, you know, kept trying to find out what his name was. And that was the answer he was looking for from Maze. And the second we finally find out his name, you know, literally the last thing he said was, "My name's Maze," and then Gabriel kills him and bludgeons him. So as soon as we get some answers, boom, he's gone. So I thought that was also a very interesting thing. Was it Aaron who actually asked the name, or was it Gabriel? I can't really remember now. One of them did, and that was the point I'm trying to make. So yeah, that was really, really interesting, how that all kind of played out. And again, it's another positive thing about having these bonus episodes, is that it can flesh out some characters who may not have gotten the screen time in the main season 10. You know, Aaron had a bit with Gamma in terms of a storyline in season 10. Was that season 10 or was that season 9? I can't even remember now. I think it was season 10. It all feels so long ago. God, 2020 really fucked us. But yeah, I think he didn't still, outside of that, get that much to do in season 10 from what I can really recall. So for him to get a bit more focus again, I do feel like there's more focus on Gabriel overall, but that's not a bad thing by any means. But still, to see him having these bonds with Gabriel, show different sides to his relationships and friendships, delving into his and Gabriel's selflessness, I guess, when they were playing that game was also very telling. The fact that they never once pointed the gun at each other and took the chance of killing the other one. It was always like, if one of us has to die, I'd rather it be me. You know, and Aaron barely hesitated in making that decision, which kind of shows that selflessness that he has there. Even when Maze was like, you want to see your daughter again, don't you? You know what you have to do. And he still was going to shoot himself anyway. So that's very telling about Aaron as a person. I think he's always been that way, whereas Gabriel hasn't always been that way, but he is that way now, because he kept making the decision to try and shoot himself. So I probably would have chanced it and just tried to shoot Maze and hope that there was a bullet in there, like, quickly before he could shoot me. But yeah, it would be remarkable to see, like, if season 5 Gabriel was put in that same position. I think he would have just risked it and shot Aaron. Because, you know, he was quite the coward back then, but he's kind of grown and changed a lot since that. So I like how that whole final confrontation-y bit really showcased how far Gabriel's come. And, you know, what would this Gabriel, how would he act to someone who behaved like season 5 Gabriel? Would he just be like, oh, going to try and help him? Or would he just abandon him? There's a lot of interesting stuff with that. Just knocked my notes over. You know, constantly trying to convince Maze, like, there are still good people out there. We're not, and Aaron was the one who's like, we're not murderers, we're not killers. And Gabriel, I don't think, ever said that. And then he was the one who he ended up murdering Maze. And he's like, well, he had to kill him. He killed his brother's family and all of that. But then I was like, well, do you remember what you did in season 5, Gabriel? But again, you can't necessarily hold that against him, because he's come a long way since then. His mindset's changed. And that's what makes me think, like, how would, you know, if season 5 Gabriel and season 10 Gabriel, they basically are separate characters, but if they were genuinely different characters altogether, how would, you know, season 10 Gabriel behave to a character like that? It would be an interesting thing. And the fact that you can do that shows how far Gabriel's come and how much he's changed, which is a really cool showcase of that character. And so I liked that. And obviously the performances from everyone in the episode, obviously a very limited cast. And outside of, like, the Walkers, there's only, like, those 3 people, really. Because same actor played the brother, I assume, unless that guy has a twin in real life. But I feel like they just put him in a beard, which would make sense. So that was really interesting. I liked that a lot as well, getting that actor on. I knew he was going to be in this season at some point. I didn't know exactly what episode he was in. I didn't realise he was in this episode. Is it Robert something? I feel like there's a Robert somewhere in his name. I feel bad that I don't know it. T-1000. But yeah, I thought he was fantastic in this. I really liked just the ballsiness that he approached things at first, you know, sheer confidence and belief in him and in his own mind, and then to see him slowly be won round just for it to get turned against him anyway and he gets killed. And then kind of bringing that completely shattered state of mind to when he then played the brother, and the tragedy behind that, and how just like the visual storytelling there, like did he just chain up his brother there and like dumped the bodies next to him, and he just like had to sit and watch his family rot for God knows how long. No wonder he was kind of so unhinged when we found him, because his first instinct then was to like point the gun at Gabriel after he freed him, and then just shot himself, which is kind of, you know, how he probably would have wanted that game to go. Because I think the mother and daughter, I assume that was them, like his wife and daughter that were next to him, I think they had the bullet holes in the side of the head, so I assume they chose to shoot themselves and that's how they died. So they never, you know, I don't think anyone shot them, is what I'm assuming from that, which is good visual storytelling. And obviously that guy would have much preferred he was the one to die, and that's how he killed himself in the end, and he didn't really want to live with what he'd been through, I guess, once he had the chance for freedom and way out. Boom. And I guess he didn't know, he may not have known that his brother was dead downstairs. Probably, maybe he did, because that's where we assume Maze was hiding, and that's how he heard all that conversation that Aaron and Gabriel were having the previous night. So I assume he probably did hear that Gabriel killed him and everything. But still, like, that poor guy, how messed up was that? And all that came from him trying to steal his brother's food, because that's kind of how the world is. And maybe, you know, he had to put his wife and daughter ahead of his brother at times, and just an unfortunate circumstance. And that's really twisted Maze's view of the world, and therefore his brother, like making him play like Russian roulette with his family. Like, that's his own flesh and blood as well, you know. Really dark stuff, that kind of twist. So I just assumed he like killed them all. He was like, well, I dealt with it, so I just assumed he like killed the entire family or whatever. But he actually made them play that same game, which I guess makes sense, because it seemed like that's a very on-the-fly idea to play like Russian roulette with them, but obviously he had done that before, so the idea was very much planted within his mind already, which is interesting, and would have been quite fascinating to see how he would have behaved if they had just convinced him, taken him back to Alexandria or whatever, but clearly just not meant to be. Some people are just, they're too far gone. They are out there too long on their own, and that isolation can kind of drive him mad. And while he did have his brother there chained up, you know, it seems like the ties between them were completely shot, so they weren't even interacting or that close anyway, so it did probably feel very lonely for the both of them. And he had that big old warehouse basically to himself. So a really tragic story, really, about what happened to them, and the world just completely destroyed that family. Survival instincts are going to kick in. Sometimes betrayals are just on instinct and they can't be necessarily explained away. And you want to find some different kind of answers to, you know, different meanings to bad things that happen to you, in case you, like Gabriel was saying, maybe you don't want to admit the truth, and that maybe food meant more to that guy, and the survival of his family, his wife and child, meant more to the brother than, you know, Maze did to him. So a lot to unpack there. It feels very heavy and like, so I'm kind of glad we got some lighter moments earlier on with like Aaron and Gabriel taking the piss out of each other, then playing poker, drinking the whiskey and everything. The story that Gabriel kind of talked about with the Reverend was a really lovely scene. I like the way they shot it. I just focused down on Gabriel as he was looking up. And again, maybe it's a positive of having these bonus episodes. I do feel like it's kind of a shame we haven't properly gotten stuff like that with Gabriel, probably since he was introduced. So it's taken them 5 years to give us another like backstory kind of thing for him like that. It just shows there are a lot of characters in this show, and it's hard to give them all focus. It took them literally having to add 6 episodes onto a season to get stuff like that for these characters. Kind of a shame. So while the scene is great, it does feel like, well, why is it taking us 5 years to get another scene like that with him? But, you know, maybe we just want these characters to be mysterious. But regardless, it was a great scene. And yeah, the acting throughout I thought was really, really top notch. So yeah, there's a lot of tension going on. There was some much needed funny moments. I thought, it was very well shot. Particularly, I loved the opening with all the blood dripping on the flowers as they were like killing all the walkers. I think there is some inconsistency with like how easily they deal with a lot of walkers, and then some other occasions they really struggle just because the plot needs them to. But you can overlook that. It's a TV show. It's going to happen. But I loved how that was kind of shot and staged. I do feel like because of like the COVID restrictions and stuff, maybe they were forced to really try different ways of filming people and keeping them apart, stuff like that. And I really feel like that's actually added something quite unique and cool to these episodes, because I do feel like they've all been very cinematic so far and very uniquely shot, which I actually think is, it's really set them apart and made them look really cool and interesting. So I liked everything with that. And yeah, really interesting exploration of this new character in Maze and his family, what the world's done to him, the idea that is everyone bad in this world now? Are all the good people gone? What you need to do to survive. Is there even meaning to life anymore? Can you find meaning for yourself, like with Gabriel and his faith, the Bible, versus Maze very much having the opposing view, but then being one round just for him to be murdered by Gabriel anyway, I think is very interesting. And the Aaron and Gabriel dynamic I think worked really, really well. I liked the focus on them. It was cool that we could focus on characters like that. Very interestingly shot. It's another really fantastic episode. I loved kind of what they did with it. I think it flew by. Did some great exploration of like how far Gabriel's come in particular in terms of his development, I would say. And to an extent, how much Aaron's changed. I don't feel like, in terms of like character development, I don't think like Aaron's changed that much since we first met him. That's not a bad thing, because he's just always been a good guy, whereas Gabriel certainly wasn't. So his changes and development are a lot more obvious. I think a big thing that's happened to Aaron is he lost an arm. He lost Eric, and he's a father now. So stuff like that, it feels like stuff has happened to the people around him, and that's changed him more so than things happening to him changing him for the most part, which again isn't a bad thing. It's not a detriment against the character or anything. But it's just when they do stuff like this with these characters, it's more obvious the change in Gabriel and what they can do with that character, because he's so vastly different to season 5. Aaron was saying it himself. I really liked his line, and he was like, helping people. I loved helping people. We haven't done that in a long time. I thought that was very telling as well, of just how much shit's gone wrong for them ever since Rick and everyone arrived at Alexandria. They've just had all these big bads to deal with. They just haven't been given a break and time to breathe. So yeah, really cool focus on those two characters. The acting was great. I loved the addition of Maze, his introduction as well. He just made that noise, and Gabriel turned around and he was just stood there. That was a really cool introduction. And the whole kind of story of Maze and his brother and that family, really awful, really dark and tragic, but a great example of just how the world can still break people with the way it has become, and the idea of still finding light in that darkness, still having hope that the world can go back to normal. Aaron still hopes that things will go back to the way they were. So yeah, lots of good stuff overall. And I look forward to seeing what on earth they do with the rest of these bonus episodes now. But I think the standard has been very high for them so far. I've enjoyed all 3 of them. Personally, I still think last week's was my favourite of the 3, but this was definitely a very close second, I would say. Really, really well done, very well shot, great performances, interesting backstories to characters, ideas of finding answers and closure in the world of the apocalypse. I really liked the running themes throughout the episode, the contrast between Gabriel's point of view and Maze's point of view. Really cool stuff, and just how dark it kind of got with the resolution to that story with Maze and his brother was, oh boy. Just the idea of a family, Aaron called Gabriel and all the people around him his family, and they're, really tightly bonded. Maze and his blood family, it all fell apart. Really interesting. I don't know anything about the other 3 bonus episodes, I don't think. I knew, I knew there was like a Maggie episode, I knew there was a Daryl episode, I knew there was a Gabriel and Aaron episode. I don't know what the other 3 were about, which is pretty cool. I don't know if they've released what they're about, per se. But I'm excited to find out more, and I look forward to seeing those. But we're already halfway through these bonus episodes already, which is nuts. And they've all been very, very strong, I would say. This is a fantastic, fantastic episode. I look forward to seeing what they're going to be doing next. And until my next reaction, thanks for watching.